dynamic and prolific. He is disarming and engaging at the same time. I am sure you're going to love his vision of what the people connection will bring him in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Kerric Tyler.
Wow. Excellent introduction.
In 1985, in the fall of 1985, in my junior year of junior high school, I heard a song. When I first heard it, like most songs you hear on the radio, you're just like... But it wasn't until years later that I got the gist of it. The song started out with a very simple word: friends. Goes on further to say, how many of us have them? Friends. Ones you can depend on. Friends. Before we go any further, what? Let's be friends. Now, I didn't really understand that definition until I got to college. Actually, high school, then college, then the real world. Because the one thing I've discovered, and the one thing that I've developed and hope to conceptualize further, is a concept called meet and grow rich. Doesn't necessarily have to be for money, but the concept is still the same. A few weeks ago, I ran into a CEO, and he did something that I thought was kind of interesting. He went to what's called the networking event, which is a place where business professionals gather, get together, and talk. He went there with the express purpose, hidden, of giving people money. He had sold a lot of stock options. So the one way to, of course, lower his tax value was to give money away. Walked into the room, went up to people. How you doing? What's going on? How you doing? How are you doing? Man, the guy is the CEO, or was the CEO, of a local bank. Bailout came, he had to leave, not a problem. But he left with a buyout package of about $15 million. For tax purposes, of course, the government makes you give a certain amount away. Lowers your tax bill. He would have simply done this at some point. But he didn't for a reason. Not one person asked him who he was. Not one person asked him what he did. Not one person asked him why he was there. He went to give away $1 million. He had blank checks in his pocket, and no one said anything. At the end, when he told me later, he said, "So what would you have done?" He said, "I'd have just done what I just did to Lori, thrown money away." But he figured if no one was going to take the time to ask him, why should he do anything further? So Meet and Grow Rich has 3 very simple rules. First is find out who the person is. If you can't help anybody unless you know who they are. You can't do anything for anybody unless you know what they're trying to do. But more importantly, if you don't tell people who you are, and you don't tell people what you're trying to do, well then how can they offer you any help anyway? The second philosophy, or key point we want to make, is when you've asked the first question, you want to get back to asking them this. Who are the people you need to meet? What can I do to help you meet those people, connect you with those people, and at the same point in time, develop the relationship with that person? We were all meant to be relational people. And it didn't come from me, it came from the Bible. Now, if you want to take it up with the author, by all means, you may well at some point. But the point being that we all here, I mean, there are billions of us on this planet. And it surprises me that people may only know one person, 2, or 3. I've been here for 4 days, and I've had the privilege of meeting a wonderful group of people. And the thing about it is that if it hadn't been for this event, I may not have never met you. But by coming here, I was able to. And I was able to interact and speak for several of you. And as we get back to a point that I read a book called The Purpose-Driven Life. It's written by a pastor named Rick Warren of the Saddleback Baptist Church. And he wrote the book not to come across anybody, but to simply tell us that we all have a role in this planet. If you ever read that book, simply read the first chapter and let it digest for a few days. Because it very simply states, it's not about you. Now, I first read that, I was like, really? Well then who's it about? But the point he was trying to make is that we all have a piece in this world. We all have a responsibility and a duty in this world. And if you do enough of the right things, it all comes together. It all comes to you. The third point that we get to in the Meet and Grow Rich philosophy is the one that most people struggle with the most because they don't understand it. They assume that the first two, which is introducing and finding out who you are, meeting people, finding those people, they miss out on the greatest part of it all, which is be committed, or as I like to simply say shortly, just give a hoot about the person that you're working with or that you're interacting with. It is an absolute blessing to come into anyone's life for any purpose at any point in time. And even if it's for a simple season, even if it's for a simple reason, that moment is the moment that you have, and you should utilize it to the fullest of it. In the past few days that I've been here, I've had a chance to interact and talk with everybody. Talked with Matt just a few minutes ago. Matt told me about, I asked him, what can I do to help him with what he does? I obviously don't do anything with nonprofits, but he told me some things that he needed. I said, all right, you know what I'll do? You need help with your 503 corporation set up? I have a tax man that's all he does all day long. He's going to get his phone number. I'm going to get the bill. So he can go to Haiti and do what he needs to do. I asked Lori the other day, what was the learning expert? What was she trying to do? I didn't get all of it because time didn't permit, but I got enough of it to know that what she's doing is really interesting. I told her something about mainly the relationship I have with my son and my son's mother. She said two statements that got me to think, really? Wow, what have I not been doing? We didn't even know each other, but the connection was made. Earlier this afternoon, when my partner and I were working, I found out a few things she likes to do. 2 jars of apple butter, 2. That connection is what keeps things going. But the biggest one of all, and the one that really grabs me the most, is really how we got here. And to do that, I actually have to do something that I don't do very often. I actually have to kind of tell a little confession of how I really got here. I got here because a long time ago, I met a friend. This friend answered an ad that I put on Craigslist. And I said, okay, put an ad for a promotion of a club. Friend wrote me back and said, hey, how can I help you? Listed a 2-page ad as the response to what I had 1 paragraph. She had 2 pages. Then calls me a couple years later. Listen, I'm doing such and such. I got this club opening up. I want you to come through. What time? 6 o'clock. It's 5:30. That's not what I asked you. Okay. Soft opening. I show up. She didn't show up, but I was expected to be there. Well, how did you know I was there? I checked the roll. Haven't had the roll check on me since what, elementary school? A few years later, all of a sudden I got another phone call. Listen, I just met this great client, and I need you to check her out on the internet. I'm like, okay, who is he? Her name is Janine Driver. Okay, go for it. What am I supposed to do? Nothing, just hold on. By the way, she's got a book coming out later on this summer. Now, everybody else got asked to buy the book. I was told to buy the book. You know why? To anybody else, this might not have been subtle. The commands might not have seemed subtle. But the point was clear. You either support me 100% in everything that I do, or you don't support me at all. It's one thing to be friends, it's another thing to support the things that the friends do. To not just grow professionally, but to grow financially as well. Now I need you to do one more thing. I need you to go out and talk to people. Tell them about this person. Tell them about what she does. Like, okay, let's get together. Now we're going to be overseas. I'm like, where are you now? I'm in Honolulu. Honolulu? Yeah, I'm down in Florida right now. She's about to go on stage. Okay, when are we going to get together? I'll see you when I get back. Will you be there this weekend? Now I won't be there this weekend, but I'll know that you were there. Can't win for losing. Trying to support my friend, can't even see her. But in the end, that doesn't really matter. The concept is meet and grow rich. I met a friend, she's growing, and at some point one day, I'll help her grow rich. Oh, wait a minute, I'm doing that right now, aren't I? Just by being here. Something else will come up, and I'll have to do it again. But there was something that was said a few days ago that really got me thinking. It was when my friend's boss mentioned that if bookings aren't there, my friend doesn't get paid. I said, whoa! I'm not hearing that from the person who's not doing it. I'm hearing that from the source. So just like Gina here has some conversations, I have some conversations with some people. In that folder on your desk is the name and number of 2 people who run large marketing networks. You don't need to worry about calling them because I'm calling them for you.
Thank you.
See, in my world, I believe in the Godfather principle. You don't have to necessarily be there for the service one day, but when I do call, it's coming. My friend was like, well, what do you think we need to do? I said, well, the first thing you need to do is jack up your client's fee. Get out of the $12,000, start charging $25,000. I got a friend in Florida who runs, her husband speaks, gets $100 grand when he speaks. She sells $50,000 worth of books before he leaves the house. My friend has one rule. If this is the last speech, if this is the last check we get, you will bring that money home. I don't know how Steve's done it for 20 years, God bless the poor man, but that's what I see. And it goes on. The reason, wherever you are, wherever you think you are, you can go further. We all going to leave this room, we're going to go out and do for you. Not because we have to, not because of anything, it's because we want to. My friends want to know what I've done these days. I've been putting stuff up on Facebook. I've been saying this, I've been saying that. And that's the concept. So if anyone in this room wants to do something, let me know. Come see me. Meet and grow rich. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.